Imagine having everything you ever wanted. Absolute comfort, infinite entertainment, food at the touch of a button, no pain, no frustration. But there's one detail. You can never leave this cycle. Would you still feel free? Aldous Huxley, in Brave New World, predicted a future where people wouldn't be controlled by pain, but by pleasure. A world where happiness was mandatory and no one questioned anything. Sounds distant? Look around you. Today, we are surrounded by distractions. Social media, instant shopping, endless notifications. Each one promises a small pleasure, an immediate relief. But if all of this brings happiness, why do so many people still feel empty? The truth is, we are not just seeking pleasure, we are trapped by it. What should be a choice has become a conditioned reflex. The more we chase satisfaction, the further it seems to slip away. And what if this entire system wasn't an accident? What if our own biology was being used against us? This video isn't just about pleasure or distraction. It's about the freedom we believe we have, but might have already lost without realizing it. But before we answer that question, we need to understand what truly keeps us trapped. It's not pleasure itself. It's the way it keeps us wanting more. The answer lies inside our own brain. Our brains are wired to seek rewards. Thousands of years ago, this helped us survive. Finding food, shelter, and forming social bonds were essential achievements. But in the modern world, this mechanism has been hijacked. The culprit? Dopamine, a neurotransmitter that doesn't give us pleasure but makes us chase it. It's what drives us to open social media, buy new things, or watch just one more episode. In 1954, neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner conducted an experiment with rats. They implanted electrodes in brain regions responsible for dopamine release. The result? The rats kept pressing a lever to stimulate their reward system non-stop, ignoring food and even sleep. Sound familiar? Every notification, every like, every new episode starting in 3, 2, 1 is one of these levers. Small dopamine spikes make us repeat behaviors without realizing it. A Harvard Business School study shows that each new notification gives us a dopamine rush, creating dependency. Research from the University of California found that people check their phones 96 times a day. Do we really choose this, or are we just reacting? The problem is, dopamine doesn't bring satisfaction. It makes us want more. The more we chase, the less we feel fulfilled. Like a hamster running on a wheel, we think we're making progress, but we're stuck in the same place. If we are constantly seeking pleasure but never feeling satisfied, are we really in control? Or are we just following an invisible script? If you ask anyone, they'll say they make conscious choices, that they decide how to spend their time, what to consume, and what to believe. But what if this freedom is just a well-designed illusion? Imagine a golden cage. Inside, everything is comfortable, plenty of food, endless entertainment, nothing is missing. But there's one detail: the doors are locked. What looks like freedom is actually a prison so subtle that no one feels the need to escape. In the age of information, we are bombarded with choices. But are these choices really ours? Stanford University research shows that algorithms adjust what we see online to maximize engagement, reinforcing predictable behavior patterns. Neil Postman, in Amusing Ourselves to Death, warned that the greatest danger of modern society isn't oppression, but distraction. When everything becomes entertainment, we stop questioning what truly matters. Jean-Paul Sartre argued that true freedom comes from authenticity, choosing without external influence. But how can we be authentic in a world that decides for us what to watch, buy, and believe? Byung-Chul describes today's world as a society of fatigue. The endless stream of stimuli wears us down until we no longer have the energy to resist. We feel free simply because we never stop to question whether we actually are. If instant pleasure keeps us distracted and the system knows exactly how to trap us, the real question is, who is actually in control? If pleasure makes us happy, why are we never satisfied? Why do we always need something new to feel complete? The answer lies in a paradox. The more we chase pleasure, the less we actually find it. A 2018 Yale University study analyzed how excessive gratification affects the brain. Researchers found that high levels of dopamine reduce our sensitivity to pleasure. In other words, the more we seek stimulation, the more empty we feel. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge from the University of Michigan conducted a similar experiment to Olds and Milner's. He artificially increased dopamine in rats, making them chase rewards non-stop. But there was one detail. They never showed signs of satisfaction. Now think about our daily lives. We buy something new, but the excitement fades quickly. We finish one series and immediately start another. We scroll through social media, not even sure what we're looking for. We are constantly chasing something we can never reach. This pattern reflects modern society. Capitalism depends on this cycle. The more dissatisfied we are, the more we consume. What should bring us happiness ends up fueling frustration. Aristotle argued that a fulfilling life, eudaimonia, isn't based on instant pleasure, but on a greater purpose. But have we forgotten how to tell the difference? If constant pleasure doesn't make us happy, then what are we truly searching for? If instant pleasure keeps us unsatisfied, what happens when this mechanism is applied on a massive scale? The answer lies in modern entertainment, designed not just to amuse us, but to keep us distracted. Neil Postman, in Amusing Ourselves to Death, warned that the problem in modern society isn't censorship, but an excess of meaningless stimuli. When everything is turned into a spectacle, we lose our ability to think critically. This isn't accidental. Social media, streaming platforms, and mobile games are developed to maximize usage time. Autoplay, infinite scrolling, and constant notifications act as psychological triggers that reinforce our addiction to instant gratification. Guy Debord's Society of the Spectacle explains this well. We now live in a world where reality is mediated by images and fabricated narratives. We watch life unfold, but rarely participate in it. Our time and attention have become products. The more distracted we are, the easier it is to sell ideas, products, and ideologies. The less we reflect, the more predictable we become. And the real question is, if we are constantly entertained, when do we have time to realize that we are being manipulated? If modern entertainment keeps us distracted, can we still find meaning in the midst of all this noise? If instant pleasure keeps us distracted and unsatisfied, how can we take back control? The answer isn't to reject pleasure, but to redefine it. The first step is to recognize the cycle. Every time we mindlessly grab our phone, binge watch, or make an impulse purchase, we are not making a conscious choice. We are reacting. Ask yourself, am I choosing this, or am I just following a habit? This simple awareness begins to break the automatic loop. The second step is to use pleasure to our advantage. Dopamine can enslave us, but it can also be a powerful tool. Instead of chasing it through distractions, we can link it to real goals. Learning new skills, building projects, or deepening meaningful relationships. The third step is to relearn how to handle discomfort. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But we live in an age where even the slightest discomfort is avoided. The question is, can there be growth without struggle? A University of Chicago study found that many people would rather receive electric shocks than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. This reveals how much we fear silence, introspection, and true self-awareness. True freedom isn't about eliminating pleasure, but about using it consciously. Instead of being slaves to fleeting impulses, we can channel pleasure into something truly valuable. The real question now is, will you keep reacting, or will you take back control of your own life? If there's something that makes life unbearable, it's not pain, it's the absence of meaning. Viktor Frankl said that suffering without purpose destroys us, but suffering with meaning makes us stronger. If instant pleasure keeps us distracted, and the system exploits this, the final question is, are you living with intention or just reacting? If this video resonated with you, pause and reflect on your relationship with pleasure. Comment below. What is the biggest thing keeping you trapped today? Share this video with someone who might be stuck in this cycle. Because in the end, freedom isn't about what we have, it's about what we choose to do with it.